Welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program. My name is Nilaus and I will be your guide on this masterclass of Dyson Sphere. And we will be, in this episode, we'll continuing this beautiful build. This is a beautiful build for consuming science. So what more natural to do than to actually start working on how to produce the science in order to feed this polar science hub. And look at the beautiful Dyson Sphere in the background. I think we might actually be able to stop the launching of solar sails because it looks like it is very much complete. And beautiful it is. So I thought this would be a great place to start looking at it. What we'll be doing in sort of the next handful of masterclasses, we'll be going through each of the sciences, how we will build them, and how we will scale them up. So I have done that before in a previous design, but that previous design is according to my previous design principles. So it will need to be different. And what I want to do in this design is actually to take a look at, first of all, I'll build it with planetary logistics, but I will be trying to make two builds for each science. One will be at the moment you unlock the science and want to build your first science, I want you to have a blueprint that has the current tech level and you can stamp it down and then you can use it for producing that science. That tech level, of course, varies based on what tech you're working on. And today we'll be looking at the gravity matrix because it's the latest one and therefore the last one, and therefore sort of the most complex. And I thought it would be better to start here than start from the beginning, start from the end in this case. Then I want to produce a second design, and that design is when you have everything unlocked and you just want to stamp down and you want more. And I want this final design to be 5 per second. And so that when, for example, if you look at a planet like this one, then if you have my principal way of doing it, then this area here in the middle can then fit 6 designs of that type, which means that you can, for example, have all the designs on one planet and get 30 signs per second for each sign, or you can sort of build that and get 30 signs for each row, and that means theoretically you could get 300 signs per second on a planet, but yeah, good luck maintaining that. Actually, you can't maintain that with the way I built it. But anyway, 30 per second is definitely maintainable. Now that means, and the third design constraint is that I want it to be the same build both for the beginning and for the end. That means I need to design it both for the start and end. Before we go into the design, we really have to decide on what are the items we bring in, because we could make a very simple design that basically just is a stack of matrix labs and then basically say, well, quantum chips, I already have a masterclass for that, so I'll bring it in, and then I'll have a graviton lens. Sure, let's just bring those in and done video. Hit that like button and move on. Well, that's not kind of how I want, because yes, quantum chips, I have a masterclass for that, so I will be relying on that coming externally. But graviton lenses is something that you either need a lot of or not at all, depending on how you build it. So relying on this from an external source is not really that great, I think. Therefore, I integrate the graviton lens into the design of my green science. And the way I do that is then I'll be going backwards and say, okay, well, this requires diamonds. That's something I can assume that we have, so that's going to be requested. Strange matter is only used for graviton lenses as we're building now, and also for quantum chemical plants, so not much. So I want to build this myself. Deuterium and iron, those are things we know how to get, and we will be getting those either with a fractionator build and with our smelter build, or just directly from a gas giant. The particle container, it's used for some buildings, but aside from this, the main part where it's going to be used is actually for the green science or the green lenses. Therefore, I'll actually be integrating this as well. But I will be getting the electromagnetic turbines, which is in my previous video, the copper ingots, and also the graphene. So those will be my basic components that I'll bring in, and then I'll be producing the particle containers, the strange matter, there's the strange matter, and the green lenses as part of this design. The first thing we want to do is we want to sort of scale up and just basically say, if you are unlocking assemblers mark, if you're just unlocking green science, then you only have access to assembly machines Mark II. So that's going to be a design based on that. And then we'll see how big that needs to be. And then also we do another design for assembly machines Mark III. Let's go to a planet with a bit more space where we can get this in, and then I'll show you those designs, and we can start working on configuring it into a big collected design. And here we are on another planet where I have set up just 2 different builds and trying to see how similar they are. We are going to start by making 10 Mark II assemblers for the particle containers. That is going to be producing those. I'll just be throwing some numbers around. A little more than 2 per second, 2.08 per second. That'll go into 9 of these, but 9 is a bad number, so we'll probably make 10 for symmetry. But 9 is sufficient. 9 of these making graviton lenses. They will be consuming a bit more than the 2 that we have, and then we'll be producing about 1.4. 1.3 of the strange matter is being consumed by this green lens build, and that will output, I'm assuming, proliferation Mark III for everything, because I assume that you have that taken care of by this this moment. This will then be producing 1.67 outbound, and then we have 4 towers, 10 high, 40 in total. Will consume all of that, and it'll be producing a little more than 4 signs per second. Really nice build. 4.16 signs per second should be coming out of this build. If we then take the same build, upgrade to Mark III, then we will need a few more of these ones. That will go up to 12 now instead of 9. Then goes up to 12. Then it'll still be working here with the Mark III, 8 of those. In this case, if we look at the numbers, this one will be producing 3.12, 3.123, 3.125, yes. Particle containers, that will be consumed. 3 of those will be consumed here. And then that will output strange matter 1.875. And that goes in here and gets consumed. And let's see, this one can consume slightly more than this one, but it'll just be struggling a bit. But what it outputs will be exactly 2 per second if it gets all this. And then we have 4 stacks, 12 high. That gets us 48, and that gets us 5 per second outbound. So in terms of designing, we will design this part if we can fit this, and then we can just strip it down to the previous one. So let's give that a shot up here. Is it better to do? Yeah, I think it's actually better to do the initial build and then look at how we upgrade it, because upgrading is also. Now I will be providing these 2 blueprints. There will be an initial and there will be a final. There are these old ones, and I'll be removing those into a separate folder so it doesn't confuse you, and then I'll be having a separate folder for these as well. Even though I have the other ones, they are not necessarily fully refined, so take them at your own risk. Let me see, this is the initial build, which is about 4 per second, and we build it. All of my builds are always built here in these middle areas, because that's kind of where I want things to be built. And they will take 1/3 of this space. This means they can at maximum be 25 tiles wide, because otherwise it doesn't stack, or it doesn't scale down here. So we'll build this part. You can see here the way that it works, and we will be scaling it. In this place we get the electromagnetic turbines, copper, graphene and iron coming out. They will be proliferated. The first 3 things that go in will be proliferated and turning into particle containers. Then the particle containers together with the iron will go over here and get proliferated before going into the next step. The next step is of course the strange matter. These are 2 of the items needed for the strange matter. The 3rd item is the deuterium. The deuterium comes in from here and goes backwards. Also remember to proliferate that before it goes in. We get the strange matter coming out on this part, and it goes up here and then gets consolidated together with the diamonds. Diamonds comes in here, both get proliferated again and goes into the to the graviton lenses. And yes, it's slow because these ones need to get going, but once they get going, yes, it will work, I hope. And you can see the first ones are coming in here, and the very first green science is being produced. The green science will then be produced. It takes 24 seconds to build, so it's going to be taking quite a while, and it takes a while for this one to stabilize. Once that comes out, it'll come out on the back side, and you can see it uses just enough space. Here it's also important to make sure that we have checked that it is possible to make another build here with a planetary logistics, but that also means that if you choose to have your interstellar logistics instead, then I don't know. Is it room? Yeah, there's room, but there's also a nasty bit of clipping, which I will not allow. So that is up to you. I built it with planetary logistics, so that's my design parameters. They will be going back. There is a monitor which will be shouting and screaming if there is no cargo moving on the belt. If there's no cargo on the belt for a minute, then it'll be complaining and throwing a warning up here. One of those is... Oh, okay, well that's another planet or something. Cool. That will go back here. I am not proliferating the output because I proliferate at the science tower that we built in the original planet. Now with this one built, and you maybe progress in tech-wise, this is your first green science and you're happy because now you don't have to worry about green science. You can start unlocking all the cool things that work with green science, such as more consistent warpers with green science warpers. But later on you get your Mark III assemblers, and you really want to get this one up and running and get it working better. So in that case, I just remembered that I need to get a little bit more of these for this upgrade. So what we need to do is very simple upgrade. The upgrade is going to be here. We'll just basically take facilities, upgrade them to Mark III, upgrade these to Mark III, and then we also need to add a few more here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. There we go. That will get us to the 48, and the last bit of the manual upgrade is going to be over here. We'll build one more of these. It's important that you take the one that is sort of one over, because that will have the inserters on this side. And what we have now is now making 5 science per second, and that's the idea of this modular design, that you build your initial design and you can upgrade it and make it into a crisp, neat design. And of course, you don't have to build it the early version. You can just go straight to the later version once you have all the tech unlocked. Then all you need to do is just stamp the final blueprint, which is what we have here. I will just make sure that we have enough here. These are all belts, and they are coming in. So this build is basically the same as this, that we're just upgraded into. So you can either build the initial one and upgrade them, or you can get the go for this, because I think that if you build a science design initially that makes 4 science per second for green science, then you're absolutely very well off, and you will certainly have all the science you need for progressing with the game. So this is now the next build, and what you have here is then this is now 5 plus 5 science per second, and you can continue to stack it up until you start running out of, probably quantum chips is the first thing you'll run out of. And you can see up here we are running out of a lot of things, and that means I need to spend time not on progressing but on fixing the stuff that is not working in my galactic view. I really recommend this viewpoint here. I'm putting this on all of my designs, and that's what you can see also in my masterclasses, so that you can always monitor what is not performing as it should in your overall galactic logistic civilization here. Well, I think that's it. Well, this is what you can do. You can use them as they are, or you can use them as inspiration and improve the designs from here. They are of course available on my website, so do check out the link in the description that takes to the website, and there is a link to the Google Drive that is automatically synchronized. So if mistakes are found, then I'll fix them, and then they will be automatically upgraded. So thank you very much everyone for joining. Thank you for liking these videos, because it means that I'll continue to work on this. I really like this tinkering thing, but there's a lot of work obviously on making these kind of designs before I can present the video to you. So I really appreciate the fact that you are enjoying it. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.